waves that exist, particles that exist. There'll be some type of atoms in there, right? You might have some atoms in here. Okay, you might have some electrons bouncing around if there was some ionization or radiation or ionization radiation. All right, it depends on the situation. So you'll think empty box, but they start thinking of all this different stuff that'll fill up the box. You with me? So empty space isn't even empty space. So I would tell you to look at ether another way. You might need an acronym for it. So we'll go E-T-H-E-R. And you say, okay, what am I showing you? I'm showing you here how you can have the same scientific conversation, but drop the old words. You with me? Because you're using old words, and not only does it get you ridiculed when it's time to stand there and have scientific conversation, you don't know what you're talking about. All right? You're also not advancing as science advances. And you know science is advancing because we're on, right now, scientifically advanced technology. All right? We're using Wi-Fi, okay? We're using Wi-Com, all right? Or wireless communication. We're using their radio waves now. We're using their telecommunication devices now. We're using all these different stuff. Infrared, everything is coming into play to even use some of the technologies that people are using. All right? So because they've accessed these types of waves and technologies, been advanced and all of that, they're moving forward, and we're using the things that they're using or creating and yielding to move forward with them. So we must understand where the world is if we're going to have anything to do with what it will become. And if we're not in understanding of where it is, we ain't going to know where it even will be when it does go there. You understand that? And we won't have any say-so in where it's going. You need to think more than just the world as in technology. Think of the world as in yourself and whether or not you're of it, or in it, or in it and of it, or of it and in it. You understand? Or in it and not of it. You with me? And if you don't have any knowledge of your location, which is your dot, when people say drop your dot, if you don't have any knowledge of your location, then by definition you're lost. So let's say E, let's say energy, right? We can put an energy here because in empty space you still have some forms of energy. All right? So we not only just say energy, we say energetic, okay? So let's see if we want to describe what ether is. We say it's energetic, okay? Or we could say there's a flow, okay? But because we're dealing with E, we're going to say energetic, all right? But there is some type of flow that exists, all right? Meaning even when you're saying that there's nothingness, there's still a flow to nothingness. Nothingness isn't just saying no thing. Nothingness is saying there's a condition for things to be, which is a thing. You understand that? So you have energetic, and then you'll say this is some type of field, okay? But we need another word for field, so we'll call it a tensor. All right? Now, even though that's more in the realm of mathematics, it still applies, and you'll learn that the more you study science, that when it comes to science and math and all of the different collegiate degrees and everything that aligns, they work together. All right? So we'll say something is a tensor. We're not going to just say tensor. We say tensorial. Why? The A and E stand for airways. I don't know if it did. I'm not sure. I think it was an actual word though. Ether, because they used to have A and E as a letter. What do I think the new world is? I think the new world, I'm gonna write it out for you. I think the new world is truth. Truth. It doesn't matter whether you know it. Doesn't matter whether you don't know it. Right, exactly. You see the letter? That's the letter. Doesn't matter whether you know it or you don't know it. Truth. That's the new world. That's the new world, which is the what? You have the new world, which is the now world. Okay? Which is the new world, which is the no world. Okay? That's where you are now, or where you're supposed to be. We say you are here, this is where we are, in a new world. You with me? What is the name of this planet? You can name this planet whatever you want to name it. However, before you try to name the planet, can you account for it? If you want to name the planet, you have to tell me what's the shape of the planet. You want to name the planet, tell me the diameter of the planet. Tell me the circumference of the planet. You understand that? If you want to name the planet, tell me its radius. If you want to name the planet, don't just, and the reason why I'm saying this is because you yourself don't know these things. You heard somebody who was supposed to be some mathematician or Aristophanes, all right, you heard them say it was a globe. And then you heard people come out and say, no, it's not, it's flat. And you decided that you were going to choose whichever one you wanted to believe in, but you don't know for yourself which is true. So what are you naming? If you're going to ask me what's the name of the planet and you were just talking about this, all right, what they call soil, oh, well then that's Earth. Then the name of the planet is Earth. All right, and no matter where I go in the solar system, if I find anything similar to this or that is this, composed of the same things, then I'm on Earth. Or I reach down into the sand or into the mud or into the dirt on Mars, I'm holding Earth, right? So it isn't so much terraforming that needs to be done, huh? Because Earth and terra are the same word, Earth, terra. They're not going to terraform that planet because there's already dirt and soil and rocks on these other planets that are solids, okay? That's how the matter has aligned itself. That's how the molecules have aligned themselves into solids, okay? That have some type of sediment, that have some type of sand, some type of texture similar to, and composition similar to what we're calling dirt here, all right? Even carbon-based. So they're not terraforming it. What they're doing is they're attempting to make the atmosphere more like what they're calling this plane so that they can breathe in more of and exist more how they would be able to on Earth. So they may need to add more oxygen, okay? They need to add more trees, which would help with the oxygen regulation. You understand? So there's a whole system they have to set up, but you have to be clear that this word Earth, okay, is coming from the word eretz, which meant land. It didn't mean a planet. It never meant that. Okay, another word for it is what you call a country now. Okay, meaning a zone. So if we say, I will destroy the earth that I created, or I created will be what? The word bara. 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 Okay? So if I say Bereshit, 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 all right, Bereshit means in beginning, all right, in beginning, but it also means to replenish if you go deeper into it, all right? So Bereshit, in beginning, not in the beginning, that's not in Hebrew, okay? In beginning or in a beginning, there may be different translations where they say a, but the main translation you'll get from Bereshit is in beginning. In beginning, bara Elohim is what they say. Bara Elohim. Okay? Bara means what? To form. It doesn't mean to create how you think. It means to form. So let's say this was a cup of water. We know it's honey. But let's say this was a cup of water, right? And inside the cup of water was a bunch of grains of sand and dirt. Would I be able to extract from the water those grains and then form land on top of the water? Yes, I would. Or would I be able to, from that water, form some type of foundation on which that water would be able to sit? You with me? Meaning I could build it in such a way or mold it in such a way that now I have some type of center or mold or foundation. And around that is water and land. You understand, as you call it, that's able to be seen as the planet as a whole. The reason why I'm saying that is because they said the water was, they never said the water was created. The water was already here. They said it was the land that was formed, or the earth, eretz. Okay, we'll get to that. So you have Bereshit, in beginning, bara, formed, Elohim, okay, who y'all calling God, all right, or God plural, all right, because that's, sometimes it's God plural. So you have Bereshit, in beginning, bara, Elohim, God formed, okay, even though that sounds backwards, that's how it would be said. In the beginning formed the Elohim, or formed God. Eretz, which becomes your earth. Eretz, right? Et or ha. Shamayim. Okay? So, in the beginning, or in beginning, formed God, or God formed the earth and the heavens, or heavens and the earth. Are you with me? So, what you're calling the planet, to answer your question, it depends on whether or not you even know what the planet is. And as your position, you don't. If you're going to tell me you know what this planet is, you're lying. You don't know that. Now, you can believe it. That's fine. Nobody's going to hate you for that. But to say that you know the shape of this plane, whether or not it has a shape, any of that, you will be lying to yourself. Unless you were given an opportunity to go out and see it as some of these astronauts, okay? Or whether or not they're astral, you don't know. Because they're saying they're not astral. We're astronauts. So they probably have not gone out into the astrals. You know what I'm saying? Which will be the sky and beyond. They probably haven't gone as far as you think. Because you go look it up, they'll tell you the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere. So you thinking when they went to the moon, they left the Earth's atmosphere. That's still the Earth's atmosphere. Which might confuse flat earthers, because flat earthers don't know that scientists agree with them and say that the Earth and the moon are in close enough proximity that the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere. So when they say they haven't even left the atmosphere, even they don't even know how far the atmosphere stretches. You understand? When it comes to even the magnetic field or the magnetosphere, okay, this would be the Earth, and this would be your magnetosphere. You understand that? It will stretch outward, miles. Okay, it wouldn't be what you think. Like, oh, it's just right here. Oh, there it goes. No, you with me? So again, it depends on how much you know or you don't know. And then studying the atmospheres will help you understand within yourself the type of plane you're living on. It still won't give you the awareness of the plane itself. So if you were asking me what's the name of it, I would in turn ask you, what even is it? What is Earth? And the word itself says the land. So we shouldn't, if we're gonna call it anything, we would call it what? Eretz Mayim. Eretz Mayim. Okay, land and water. But then you have to take into consideration that there's a lot more than that, because you have a core. Okay? So you have to say Sham, the center, the core, Sham Eretz Mayim. Alright? You're just saying what you're observing. That's how they got names. So you say Sham Eretz Mayim. A sun in the middle of our planet called our core. Alright? The land that's above it. Alright? And then the water that's above the land. And then you got to keep branching out. You know what I'm saying? And going further and further and further. Alright? So that's your answer. Any other questions? This was the Black and Latino people land? No, it wasn't. Y'all don't own anything here. Again, I told you that old world is passing. All that we own this land stuff, you got to let that go. You don't own this land. The one who owns the land is the planet herself. You want to know how? Because you can build the most solid foundation up on the earth. And what will she do? She will shake, and she will remind you of who actually runs it, who actually owns it. And everything you built will crumble. Just with a simple earthquake. That's who owns it. You don't own anything. You with me? And another thing, if y'all are talking about ascending up out of her, up out of here, then ownership of anything here should be the last thing on your mind. You don't own anything here. That ain't how the adepts reached where they reached, if they did. I almost said where they reached, but I like that. That ain't how the adepts reached where they reached. Right? So ownership doesn't come with ascension. You with me? If you want to ascend, then you got to let go of what you think you own. Okay? Ascension is all about detachment. You have to detach. Meaning, you have to unattach. because you're already moored or attached here. You have to unplug. So you don't want nothing here. I don't want nothing here. You want this land? I don't want it. You know, I love it. I respect it. It was a nice experience. But if I'm talking about ascension, if there's something more after this, I would like to know that. Some of y'all are getting too caught up in this matrix and saying that y'all are breaking out of it. Let me tell you something. Rashad Jamal didn't have the true light. Y'all got to stop regurgitating him. I'm telling you, he doesn't know what he's talking about because he never stood in complete and utter silence. He never stood in that which he doesn't know. When you constantly trying to act like you know a thing, you're going to fill in blanks with the wrong answers. You understand that? And watch this another thing. You say, why do you think we were slaves? I wasn't a slave. I was born in 1998. I was never a prisoner of war, and I wouldn't disrespect ancestors of mine. If I did have ancestors of mine who were prisoners of war, I wouldn't disrespect them and say that I was a slave because they were. I'm not a slave. I am not a slave. You listen to the F Black History song? Right. I wasn't there back then. Neither were you. You just got here. I'm talking about the person who I'm speaking to who has ears to listen. You didn't get those ears from back then. You got those ears from front now. We got a lot of back then teachings because they don't have any front now works. We're not back there and then with no works. We're right now, front and center. Show me what works. And what doesn't work is theory. What doesn't work is spirituality. What doesn't work is thinking that I know. The only works at this point beyond faith. Alright, you got to get beyond faith. Faith was just the Fatiha. Fatiha. Fatih, Fatih, Pata means opener or what? Key. Faith was just the key. Now you have to get beyond faith and start dealing with fate. Okay? Which is Father. Father. You have to get up to the Father. Father. Beyond faith, where are your works is the point. Because it's going to take work, energetic yield, okay, to get up there where we are. And a lot of people aren't ready to do that. So I hear where you're coming from. I think I understand. Because I understand what everybody was out here teaching, but they were wrong. Or you believe they were right, and then when I ask you a question, you realize you can't answer it, and if you think that's a good feeling, stay there. If you want to evolve from that, or break out of that cycle or that loop, you have to admit they didn't know what they were talking about. They didn't know. They still don't know. Any other questions? So that old world has passed away. Come up out of that. You got to come up out of that. And you have to be able to accept that you don't know a thing. That's the only way. You have to look at these beings if they exist, or nature if these different components of it exist. So you have to look at nature as a tester. Nature is a tester. It'll test you. Look at tester. You get test or test your light. Nature tests your light to see what type of being are you. Are you a being walking upright, or are you a being walking down bad or down wrong? Are you down bad, or are you upright? Are you standing up, or are you laying down? You'll be tested. Why? Because this is what's referred to as natural, listen, selection. I'll show you a key right here as it's coming through. Never taught before. Did you ever think that natural was saying Netaru is coming through right now, so you're getting it hot off the press. Netaru selection. Natural selection. Look at it. And natural mean Elohim. Go look it up. Elohim. Netaru. When you put the word U there, it means plural. And the word neter means God. So when you're saying natural selection, even phonetically, you'll see neter. It's right there. Neteru. Alright, natural selection, which is what? Natural election. Natural election. Or God, or God's chosen. So, I don't know why, but human beings think they're exempt from natural selection, and they're not. It's just you're existing on such a degree of the spectrum, or within the spectrum, that you must be selected in a different way. Spiders aren't exempt, neither are you. Come up out of that. You got to come up out of that. And you have to be able to accept that you don't know a thing. That's the only way. You have to look at these beings if they exist, or nature if these different components of it exist. So you have to look at nature as a tester. Nature is a tester. It'll test you. Look at tester. You get test or test your light. Nature tests your light to see what type of being are you. Are you a being walking upright, or you a being walking down bad or down wrong? Are you down bad, or are you upright? Are you standing up, or are you laying down? You'll be tested. Why? Because this is what's referred to as natural, listen, selection. I'll show you a key right here as it's coming through. Never taught before. Did you ever think that natural was saying Netaru is coming through right now, so you're getting it hot off the press. Netaru selection. Natural selection. Look at it. And natural mean Elohim. Go look it up. Elohim. Netaru. When you put the word U there, it means plural. And the word neter means God. So when you're saying natural selection, even phonetically, you'll see neter. It's right there. Neteru. Alright, natural selection, which is what? Natural election. Natural election. Or God, or God's chosen. So, I don't know why, but human beings think they're exempt from natural selection, and they're not. It's just you're existing on such a degree of the spectrum, or within the spectrum, that you must be selected in a different way. So, when you think God is going to stand there with a finger and say, you go here, no, you're going to stand there wherever you stand, and you're going to face in whichever direction you want to face, and you'll go here or you'll go here. You understand? It'll be your very decisions that cause for you to no longer be a part of that which is nature's selected. If the spiders aren't exempt, neither are you. If the deer aren't exempt, neither are you. If the lions and tigers and bears, oh my, are not exempt, neither are you. Human beings are not exempt. They only think they are because they don't understand that nature and God, neter, are one. Alright? What's my point here? My point here, and if they don't understand that, tell them to go back and read the book of Genesis. When they wanted to wipe everything out, what was the first thing they did? They called on a what? An element, water. And they said, flood it all out. They went to an element. Then God believes in elements. God God moves and works with elements. God has the mind of a God. Mental. It was meant for the gods to understand it. You understand that? If you don't, it was meant for the gods to understand it. Alright? So you have water came through, and they said, okay, in the book of Peter's, alright, they said what? Oh, we're gonna come through next time, and we're gonna do it with fire. It'll be fire next time. That's another element. God believes in elements. God believes in elements. Listen to me. Do I need to listen to a Rashad Jamal lecture? You ask me, have I ever listen to me? Yes, I have. Listen, I will never be able to recoup those brain cells. But that's neither here nor there. Listen to me. Do I need to listen to a Rashad Jamal lecture? Come on, family. You are here now. You're here now. You're here now. Come on now. Be present. Alright, so yeah, God believes in elements. The word of God, meduneta. Medu, divine speech or word of God. Nectar, where is that? Meduneta. The word of God. Medu, Madu, Medea, mother. Nature. Alright? There's something else that they're running from. Because even when you say element, it's saying Ella, which is a word that means she, her. It's feminine. So even that pronection that's required to understand this and be counted amongst the selected, what is necessary? What's needed? The mind of who? The woman. You have to have the mind element of the woman. Elemental. Go look up what I'm telling you. Different languages have different codes in them. And if you don't have the mind of the woman, you won't be able to take that path that's far off. You won't be telepathic. What is that path that's far off? You're here. Here are the stars. Star Trek. That's a path. Trek that's far off. You won't be able to complete the journey. What do you mean, Omari? I'll show them. If y'all let me. If not, then it ain't for them right now. I'll show them. Let only the truth come through me. Let's say there's a sun in the center of your solar system. Okay? And then you have all of these different planets around it. Okay, which this is not necessarily a good representation of their spacing. Okay? Because they're much more spread out than this. Alright? You have all these different planets. And here goes you. Here's your Earth. Here go where you at. You just chilling, doing your thing. Listen to me right now. So you are here. Let's see. You meet me at this house right here. Right? You meet me at this house. I say, come one, come all. Everybody, come on. So y'all line up. Okay? And you meet me here. You say, who we waiting on? I said, we waiting on the one. Right? I say it in that voice. And I bust out laughing. We're waiting on the one. Right? And y'all like, what the fuck you think you're talking about? Okay? If somebody pulls up, you don't know who it is. Don't worry about it right now. And they make 3 sounds. Beep, boop, bop. Right? And something opens up. And when it opens up, it reveals a craft. Alright? A craft. You don't know what it is, don't worry about it right now. Okay? So, he said, oh, wow, that's amazing. The craft opened up. And then we all walk up these stairs, everybody, and we beam up into a craft. And let's say one of y'all thought y'all was slick. Here go you. I'm going to sneak onto the craft. Right? So, we already know, so as an insider, we're going to let you. We're going to let you sneak onto the craft. So, you beam up with everybody else too. I have fooled them. Click on your symbol. I have fooled them. Boom. Alright, boom. So we get in the crowd. We take the trek. First of all, along the trek, you start making noise. God damn. Everybody alright? Yeah, we good. Everybody's good. I have fooled them. But you don't understand that goddamn is your cells are starting to rearrange themselves. Right? And let's say you haven't already equipped oneself with the composition of an Etherian, as y'all call it. Right? Or as it has been called by Dr. Melikazi York first. Get it clear. And he would know what it means before everybody trying to say what it means. He knows what it means. And only those with ears and eyes will know what it means. Alright, so let's say you haven't equipped oneself with being an Etherian. So you don't have the composition to be able to even complete the Star Trek. But we didn't tell you that because you thought you were sneaky, so you snuck on. So now your cells are starting to rearrange themselves. After we get within a certain range of the sun, you say, God damn. We say, everybody good? Yeah. I tricked them, right? So as we get closer to the sun, now the atoms within your being are being subject to ionization radiation or ionizing radiation. What does this mean? Nigga, electrons is jumping off your shit. Say, I don't know what this nigga got going on, but we ain't involved. And you don't even know what's happening. All you know is shit jumping around. You like, God damn. Yo, everybody good back there? Yeah, we good. Then we get close enough to the sun. By the time we get here, you done been subject to X-rays, gamma rays, all kind of rays that you just weren't raised to deal with. And before we even get to the sun, let alone through the sun, you have fizzled out. And we watched you. And we laughed after because you thought you tricked us. You fizzled. You done been subject to X-rays, gamma rays, all kind of rays that you just weren't raised to deal with. And before we even get to the sun, let alone through the sun, you have fizzled out. And we watched you. And we laughed after because you thought you tricked us. You fizzled out of existence. You can't go through the sun if you haven't already going through certain steps that allow for transformation. So can you fake whether or not you are elect? Think about what I'm saying. First of all, if the ship itself doesn't kill you, this will. So everybody's welcome on board. Anybody can come on. There's space for all of you. Come on. Iblis want to run a business. Come on, Iblis. Because you have to be a certain type of being, which is called an elect being, or an electrified being, or an Etherian, or a high frequency being to be able to deal with it. That's my point. My point is, everything I'm saying to you may sound like a joke, but if you listen very closely, behind the joke, you'll be able to hear science. And the science is very real, and your scientists very really know it. Go watch this TV show called Man Who Fell to Earth. It's based on Dr. Melikazi York and what Dr. Melikazi York taught, even down to one's ability to turn themselves into a ship. That's all Dr. Malachi York. You'll see a drawing like this in the Holy Tablets where somebody is turning themselves, the dude got an afro and everything, turning himself into a ship. Okay? And what they drew looked exactly like what Dr. Malachi York drew, what they put in that TV show. You with me? So you wouldn't be able to fake it anyway. So what does this mean? It means that, first of all, there will be a certain amount of protection and aid coming from this craft within itself, right? The same way when you got cars and you driving in the heat and you got AC. Oh yeah, you can handle it. Or the same way you riding in the car and you don't got no AC. Okay, you can still handle it to a certain degree, but if you in that bitch and there ain't no AC, what wind up happening? That shit'll heat up more than outside. You with me? So depending on whatever the conditions, which I don't know, of the inside of the craft, okay? But you also have to count the fact that, okay, let me tell you what a craft can do. All right, one of these shems is what they call shem. And the reason why it's called a shem or a shem is because this word means a son. So these ships also are referred to as baby sons or baby planes. Your government knows what they are. Okay? Recently they told you they were what? Drones. You bought it. You shut up. They were happy. You know what I mean? They came through. They did what they did and they left. It ain't the only time they done popped up. They done popped up over the U.S. Headquarters before. What they call it, Washington, D.C. They popped over Washington, D.C. before. Let me get this pen fixed. And they didn't know what it was. So they were like, you know what I'm saying? We gonna act like this never happened. Go look up what I'm telling you. They were in their airspace. It scared the shit out of them. Alright. Again, I just said for the past 5 minutes, hypothetical, data, allegory. Okay, cool. Alright? So they call them drones. But they've been called multiple things before they've been called drones. Right? One of them was a chariot of what? Fire. Because they didn't know what this thing was. This shouldn't be hard for you to understand because at one point in time they thought the sun was what? Fire. Now scientists understand a little more, at least they say they do, a little more about nuclear fusion, a little more about helium and hydrogen, a little more about plasmic energy, all of that. But they used to just say fire, so they didn't really have to explain it beyond that. You understand that? So imagine one of these being like a smaller one of these, but still what one of those is, coming into the atmosphere and say, okay, come on, time to get on. You wouldn't be able to walk up on that motherfucker if you ain't already completed certain transformations. Now, I got this on my heart to tell you, so I'll tell you. Everything I'm about to say is allegorical. Certain transformations you can't complete for yourself. However, when you complete certain transformations by yourself, you put yourself in position to be able to aid it with the rest of the transformations. For example, if you place yourself in such a situation where you've been fasting, you've been exercising, working out, you've been detaching from certain vices, so your irritation has been put under wraps, and now you ain't got to worry about being irritated and irritable all the time, and your aggravation, all that's been put under wraps. You're finding yourself more centered by the day, more secure and more safe. You're of the secure and safe and peaceful ones. All right, you become the chosen, the electrified ones who sit there in that centered seat without being able to be moved or shaken. You're rataba, you're unshaken at that point. Okay, if you're able to do that, then maybe, just maybe, that will send off a signal. And then, just maybe, certain ones that are up there in your skies and you can't even see them because they're disguised. They're discs in the skies, this high. But those discs in the sky, you can't see them because those disguise is disguise. Go watch the movie Chicken Little. Right? Quantum stealth technology is very real. Everything I'm saying is allegorical. So let's say they get the message, say, okay, here goes another one. They're giving off a green light. So here go a GL. And then they come down. And you're resting. Alright? And what happens? You were resting peacefully. Here go you. Right? Resting peacefully. Z, all that good shit. And then something happened and you felt a wave push you back into your body. That was your being getting reacclimated with the soul that was pulled out, and like if I take out a disk out of a computer, a flash drive, and you're resting, all right? And what happens? You were resting peacefully. Here go you, right? Resting peacefully. Z, all that good shit. And then something happened and you felt a wave push you back into your body. That was your being getting reacclimated with the soul that was pulled out, and like if I take out a disk out of a computer, a flash drive, and I just put something on it, and then put it back, that's your soul. You understand that? They can come to you and see you when you have a certain light coming from you. They'll visit you. And they can change and alter certain things in you because that light is showing that you completed certain steps. Look at it like you're in a job orientation, and after you get done with your application, you raise your hand, right? Okay, that's you raising your hand. Say, okay, I'm done with that part. Remember in school? Say, hey, Miss Jones, I finished. Everybody had a Miss Jones, I don't know why. And then she said, Miss Jones, I'm done. And then Miss Jones comes and say, okay, yeah, good job. Here goes your next assignment. All right? Go watch the movie K-Pax. Remember K-Pax? If you don't remember K-Pax, go watch K-Pax. K-Pax gonna remind you of somebody. I'm not gonna say who. K-Pax always wears shades. He's smart than a motherfucker. K-Pax remind you about one of these niggas. I just don't know who. And K-Pax gave one of these people who was a patient in the hospital, what? He gave him 3 tasks. And every task he had to complete. All right? So you had to be able to, it depends, right? Don't jump too quick, because some people's tasks might be, get this done, get your people to this place, and then stay. Some people's tasks might be, get this done, don't get that done, you get to that place, and then leave. So don't get caught up and think you understand what the task is by just seeing the number saying it apply to everybody. No, somebody might be given one task. You understand that? Still, you have tasks to complete. And you know what your tasks, how do I know what my tasks are? I hear you, okay, you gotta ask all the questions, right? You gonna be using this for my day. Storyboard. Alright, I got your question, I heard you. Your question is, how do I know what my tasks are? Okay? The things that you're being told to stop doing. You need to pay attention to this word, stop. Quit it, stop. Alright? Why? Because this means you're being ushered into what's referred to as cessation. If you're being ushered into cessation, you're one of us. If you're not, you may not be one of us. At this late in the game, family, if you're not even getting the urge to stop, if you're not even getting the impulse to stop, you may not be one of us. This may be your world that's passing away. You may be one with it. You may be of it. If you're not of it, you're being called home. Cessation. So there's a war in you. Okay? Cessation, telling you to cease. It's right there in the word. You can literally flip it around. Okay? Cease. Stop. Cease and desist. Go look it up. Cessation versus sensation. Somebody like, you don't know how to spell. I'm like, you don't know how to spell his word. Sensation. Okay? You have to decide which one. How do I know? You know if you're being told to stop. Stop drinking. Stop smoking. Stop watching pornography. Stop masturbating. Stop casual sex. Stop overeating. Stop. Stop. You're getting cues. Right? And not everybody is experiencing that. It's the same situation when you find out that not everybody has what? ADHs or audio verbal hallucinations as they call it, or an IV. Not everybody has an IV. An IV is a what? Inner voice.
Crazy.
That blew my mind, but they say not everybody can hear that voice talking inside. I don't understand that, because since I was young, somebody been talking to me. You with me? That's why they try to trick you when they doing psychiatric evaluation. Say, do you hear voices? Because they want you to say no, so they can say you're trying to lie because you're what do you call it? Schizophrenic or whatever they're trying to diagnose you with. Because most people hear voices. You with me? But there are some who literally can't hear voices. Same way some people don't dream in color. I don't understand that. But when my Umi was growing up, she went to school with a lot of people who didn't dream in color. They dreamed in black and white. I didn't understand. I said, how is that possible? You with me? And some people actually saw colors differently, depending on what they were looking at. If they were looking at a gem, she did a project. She was walking around with a gem and she saw green, and all of her melanin.
By the way, I hope everybody just chilling listening to the lecture, but I just want to say something, not about the lecture, but about 2K. If you can see in this gameplay, whenever I'm not, shooting too good, I just give up the rock. Whenever I'm getting clamped up, I don't force up the shot, I give up the rock, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm not the best, but I hope some people can kind of learn from this gameplay right here. Because some people just, they jack up shots, force up shots, they don't play as a team. I shouldn't have to tell people, but basketball is a team game. Just because you bought this game don't mean it's a solo game. No, this is a team game. But hopefully y'all listen to the lecture though, because very important. Go check out Phase 1, man.
Dominant friends saw green, but all of the Caucasian people said, including the teachers, were saying yellow, and all of her melanin dominant teachers were saying that's green. There was some type of varying degree based on whether or not you were a melanin dominant person or a melanin recessive person, or what color you were seeing. It didn't mean either one of them were right. It just meant that one person was seeing. It's the same thing with being colorblind, and that's not even race specific. You can have people who are melanin dominant who are colorblind. They're looking at the same thing you're looking at, but they're not beholding the same thing you're beholding. So they also shown in their studies that a lot of Caucasians decades ago, they were literally dreaming in black and white. They didn't, and they say dogs dream in the same color, black and white, black and white isn't even a color. Okay, for one, black and white is standing either the absence of something, or white is supposed to be the fullness of. And I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. What I'm saying is different experiences for different people. You with me? Not everybody has the same experiences. There are some Caucasians who may be way more so-called spiritual or in tune than someone who thinks they are just because they're melanin dominant. It depends on who you are. That was one of the things I had to learn growing up, because again, I was coming from communities where a lot of people would talk the same thing that y'all would talk, but it was too slow. And as I grew older, I started realizing those teachings were too slow. You have to speed up. So those who are asking, how do I know? That's how you know. If you're being told to stop, that's one of the ways. Cessation is saying what? You're down here, come up here. And the only way you can come up there, all right, you have to look at it as a pyramid. You have to do what the few aren't willing to. There you go. Do what the few aren't willing to. Do few too. Right? If you don't, you fucked. That's what it said. I didn't make it up. That was literally biblical. Do what the few don't want to, or if you don't, you fucked. It's just right there. I said it. I was going to tell y'all stuff you didn't know. I'm going to tell you something you don't know. You got to get up there to the top to be able to see. Okay? Cessation. C-section. C-section. Alright? C-section means you got to be cut up out of her. Come out of her, my people. Come out and enter into the realm of the true light. Come out of her. C-section. Cessation. You with me? There's so many things I could take and turn and spin from that. But the main point is, if you're being urged to stop, listen. Alright? Now, I don't mean that just because you've been urged to stop, you're going to stop immediately. However, you better go to war. You better go to war and let that war take place in the heavens, which is your brain. And you fight the...
I just want to... Now, this is going into what phase 1 is talking about. And what he's talking about right now about stopping, and the sensation, I've been feeling that since like 8th grade. Now, me personally, I have a really bad, pornography addiction, masturbation. Not only that, overeating, procrastinate. It's a lot. But man, for years, I never not get the urge to, stop watching certain content or just to fast. I've been like practicing fasting since 8th grade. And like right now, I like he just said, you're not just gonna get it on the first try. You not, because I've been, like I said, I've been practicing all this since 7th, 8th grade. And it's something I'm still having to work with. It's something I'm still having to fight with. But you know what I'm saying? I just want, back to it.
Things, and you come out on top. If not, you ain't, you ain't gonna have no excuse. I was listening to one of Pop's teachings where he was saying, back in the days when he was teaching Islam, and he was saying people were going to, try to bargain with Allah and say that they were going to come into the tabernacle, they were coming to the shrine, the holy place, and then they were going to wait. They said, when this is in the 70s, and when they said the world was going to end, right? And he said, it'll be 2030, because that's what Pop was saying, the end of the world was coming, 2030. This is back then, y'all. And he said, okay, people gonna be like, well, I'll be there in 2029 and 350 days. He said, that ain't gonna work because that ain't real. You ain't gonna be able to do that. You'll be too late. It'll be like skipping class until the last week of school and talking about you're gonna be able to take the finals. No, you will be retained. You'll be left behind. Go watch the movie, Left Behind. Somebody asked about solar eclipses. Go watch the movie Left Behind. I think they came out with another one. Watch that movie. Watch how many answers you get. Right? Because the word eclipse means to be left behind or abandoned. Are you with me? Okay. Any other questions? That's how you gonna know. You being told to stop. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. Stand in that holy place. You see all this other stuff going on out here. Who else? What other questions y'all got?
That's so big, man. That's so, man.
What does AWM stand for again? AVM? I don't know what you mean. Are you saying AVH? If it was AVH, it's audio verbal hallucinations. It's a scientific word for inner voice. One of us, who are we? Who are you? You should be able to answer that for yourself now.